Hey everybody! I named my channel Home 301 because I live at 301 Anywhere Street, USA. I turned 60 a year ago and I feel like time is speeding up for me. I have a huge hoard of crafting supplies and I'm really determined to get them all used up before I turn 70. So why don't you come inside and watch while I do some crazy crafting? I can tell we're gonna be great friends. Today I'm making a gate to haven. This is going to be made out of shims and grout and a little bit of other clay, and that's it, some wire. Boom, we have a really cool thing. And as promised, here are the shims, and we're going to glue all of them together. I think I have 8. There's 8. Gonna use some super wood glue that I got from the dollar store. And these here shims. Gotta get some clamps, because we're gonna need to clamp this sucker overnight for sure. And here's our gear. And there's the clamps. And this is the grout I'm going to use. It's left over from doing all of my back bedroom floors in my house. I can't remember how much I paid for the stuff, but it's been sitting around in my house for about 3 years. And it's still good to use. These are nice solid little blocks of wood now. Let's pop the lid off of this grout. My old hands really didn't like that. Oh look, that spatula is still in there from when I used this before. Here I come with a different spatula because I didn't like that little one. I didn't use any gloves yet. I will later though. I do recommend wearing gloves whenever you're messing with grout because it sticks to your hands with this weird adhesive that actually can burn your skin, or it doesn't do your skin any good. So if you can use a tool and wear gloves. So I'm just going to spread this grout like peanut butter on my new pieces of wood. And I guess because this grout is kind of old, it's not really wanting to adhere to the wood right away, but I talk it into staying on by just pressing it in really good. And there's the first side of my first pillar. All done. I'm gonna do the second side, and then I'll do 2 sides of the other one, and then I have to let them dry for a long time because you want it to cure very hard like stone. I'm gonna be putting these outside, I think, so I want them to be very durable. Well, I went and I got some gloves and these are those really cheap Sam's Club food preparers gloves. I don't know how those Subway workers make sub sandwiches with these stupid gloves on because they are not good. But I use them because I have them. They were super cheap. It was COVID and I have a whole case of these gloves that I have to use up. So I use them, and really I usually just use them for food prep, especially bacon. Ew, I hate to get bacon grease on my hands when I'm gonna make bacon, so I use these gloves. So I'm on to my second pillar, putting my first coat of grout on that one. So I have my technique down, press it in really good, and I won't make you watch too much more of applying the grout. I don't think it brings us very much ASMR, as the kids are saying. I don't even know what that means. What does that mean? Will somebody tell me in my comments what ASMR means? Thank you. So obviously, it's going to be okay if the grout is lumpy-ish and has like crevices where edges meet and so forth and so on, because these are going to be gothic pillars to hold up a gate, and so it's okay if they're lumpy and a little bumpy. Very acceptable. So just patting it and squeezing it. Now I'm not even bothering with that spatula anymore. Just dipping in and grabbing some. And these gloves are just about ready to be tossed. They are so bad. Oh, thank God I can take them off and just wrap them up into each other, my babies. Look at that. And then my hands are clean. I love it. And the finished pillars with their grout all on. And I thought I'd give you a look at my inspiration for this project. It was off of Pinterest. And of course, I'm not going to make it look exactly like this, but it gave me the idea to have the pillars with the wire. What do you call that wire thing that goes over the gate? I don't know. Maybe somebody else knows and can let me know in the comments what the hell those wire toppers for the gate is. And now look it, I'm not really bragging about how many corks I have collected, but you know, there are quite a lot. But I'm using this great big old pub mix container to get the diameter or the curve or whatever of this wire that I'm going to use. And it works out pretty good. It's so easy. You just pull out your length of wire if you can figure out how to pull it out. There we go. And then you just hold it on one end and tug it really tightly around, and it just naturally held the curve that I wanted. That was so easy. I never tried to do that before. I do work with wire a little bit, but really not that much. Mostly to make armatures, which I suppose is what this is, really. It's an armature for that thing that I don't know the name of that holds the letters to make the word go over my pillars. You know what I'm talking about? I don't know what I'm talking about, as usual, but I'm gonna get all of these wires sorted out. Look at that, same curvature, almost the same length. I have high hopes. So after fiddling around with these wires for a while, I finally decided that if I bend the ends a little bit, then I can get them pretty accurately where I want them once I use some clamps on this thing, because I'm going to use clamps. Don't worry. It took me a minute to figure out how I was going to get this thing together. I already knew how I was going to make them rigid, but I didn't know how I was going to make them stay where I want them, while the epoxy sculpt that I will use will make them rigid. But as usual, with a little bit of determination, some casual know-how of how things work, and maybe a little bit of luck, I bring in the clamps. I love these clamps. I got them at Lowe's Home Improvement, and they sell them in sets of 2, and I think they were $20 for 2, so this is $40 worth of clamps you're looking at. But I use them a lot in quite a few projects. And I turned the light on so maybe everybody can see a little better. And this is why I had thought to put some angles on the end. So look at that, I can hang onto the clamp with them and they won't slide around. So you can see I got them clamped down so that they'll stay, and I'll work on the other side. So I just need to fiddle with it a little, not very much, and get them stuck right into my clamp there. I can see that this is going to work out, and I'm pretty jazzed about it. I've never made an arch out of wire before, and this is going to work. I think it's going to be great. So I got to bring in some more clamps to get the middle all clamped up good. Oops, got to rest that on my boobage. There we go. Clamp, clamp, clamp. Get it clamped. There we go. And of course, I had that first one turned out to be the wonky one. I got to flip that around so all my clamps are facing the right direction. And I can lay it down flat on the table. That's another reason I love these clamps, because they have a nice flat top and you can still work on your project while it's clamped. Project is flat. You see what I'm saying? You see it. Look at how it's working out so good. I love this. Now it's time for my secret weapon, my epoxy sculpt. And you gotta smash the equal parts together and rip and stack and rip and stack. And it's another thing I probably should be using gloves for, but this epoxy sculpt is also pretty old. and dried out. So it's not sticking to my hands too much as it would when it was new. So I'm just gonna make some snakes, and notice that I cleaned off my work table really well, as I don't want it picking up a whole bunch of crap before I have it on my project. Trying to get an idea of how much I'll need for each. What I'm going to do here, I guess I can explain it, is I'm going to make braces for my wire arch out of this epoxy sculpt, and you'll see how I'm going to do it in just a minute. First I gotta roll out a couple of tubes or snake, try it on an area that I can reach really easily, and then just kind of wrap it around both wires and squeeze it on, and that's pretty much all you need to do. This epoxy sculpt stuff is so good that that little bit will hold. It won't just easily break when you are lifting it and moving it around. And let's get another one. Slide it on, fold it over, squeeze them together. Boom! That's not so hard. Yay! Get the one on the end. Make sure you don't glue your clamp, or I mean epoxy sculpt your clamp to your project. That would be bad. Goes without saying that would be bad, but I'm playing with fire, getting as close to that clamp as I can, but it's not actually touching it, so I think it'll be okay. I just want it to be on the very end so it'll hold really well. That's all I want, my babies. And here's the other side. Not too close to the clamp, but getting it on there. If I had a sponsor, this is probably the area where I would like to have StemWave be my sponsor, so I could talk about how it's helped my hands so much with my problems with arthritis and carpal tunnel from holding my dang phone all the time. But my hands hardly hurt at all anymore, not compared to how they used to hurt. And man, I would love to be sponsored by StemWave. But I guess since StemWave isn't going to sponsor me anytime soon, I should mention that I went ahead and I got myself a tip jar set up in case you like my videos and you'd like to buy me a cup of coffee, because I love coffee, or help me get my dog a bone. I give her those greenies for her stinky breath. They're kind of pricey, but I love her and I get them for her because I think they make her feel better too. It's got vitamins in there. So yeah, sponsored by me today. Tip jar. Ding ding. I hope you go and find it. It would be really nice of you, and it would mean a whole lot to me. I'd be so excited if somebody actually gave me a tip. You know, I used to be a bartender and I worked for tips. And it's my jam. I love them. So thanks in advance, anybody. So now I'm waiting for my wire arch to dry. I have all of my braces put on and it's all set. Just gotta wait for it to dry, so I might as well work on my pillars. I'm gonna put my decoration on, which is, ta-da! One of them skulls that I make out of Crayola air dry clay in my skull mold. I have about 100 of these things that I made when I was bored, and I had a whole bunch of extra air dry clay from Temu in different colors, so all of my skulls have crazy bright colors, but that's okay. I could paint them, and here I get to cut them because they're like styrofoam. You just cut it. Will I cut myself this time? It sure looks like my knife is headed right for my fingers, isn't it? But no blood today. Sorry, kids. So while we're at it, let's cut the other one. Still no blood though. Cut, 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 cut. Come on, get in there. Cut. He's got a knife through his head. And boom, got him. You are cleaved into, my friend. Get you where you want to go. Gotta look for the best side to match the first one. And there's my little skulls. And I chose some little bats. I had gotten these probably from the dollar store. Came in a pack of 20, and I'm only going to use 4 of them. Gotta cut all of the... That's a real hazard of buying craft supplies supplies. You get so many when you only need a few, but we'll make it work out. Fixing my design, and I'm going to keep it simple because the pillars aren't really the showpiece here. It's the wire art will be the showpiece of this creation today. As usual, I used probably too much glue, but I don't care. I have a lot of it. Get everything glued down. Now I'm going to use some of this polymer clay. I rolled it out with my pasta roller, and I'm using these cookie cutters that are alphabet shaped. And I'm going to make a word out of polymer clay to attach to my archway. Is that the word that I was looking for earlier? Archway? So this polymer clay that I'm using is really, really old. I must have got this pack of Granitex polymer clay from the secondhand store for $1. You can't pass that up, but you have to really work it and condition it to be able to use it. But once you've worked it and conditioned it, as you can see, you can actually get it to do what you want it to do. Just a little more fussy than if it were newer clay. So I'm pressing so hard on it that it's sticking to my project board. And so I take an X-Acto knife to get all of the inside little bits off of the letter. Gotta get the inside bits off of the letter E. And I pulled out a ceramic tile, which is what you need to use to bake polymer clay on. And then, because I have it stuck to my project board, I gotta unstick it, get off of there, and put it on the tile, because that's what you need to use to bake it. Now I'm working on the V. Does anybody know what the word is yet? Oh, I forgot. You probably already saw it in the preview. It's haven, not heaven. And it seems that I'm doing yet another Stephen King reference. Because he wrote that show Haven. You know, the one where everybody has their troubles because they have powers that they cannot control. And it only seems to happen over there in Haven. It's a pretty good show. I enjoyed it, except for probably the last season where it kind of went off the rails. And I was like, no, and I know what? That's not Stephen King's doing. I'm pretty sure of that. I know you wouldn't do that, Stephen King. I know it. So the A came out with no a-hole, but I can make an a-hole pretty easily. All I have to do is run up and poke it with my X-Acto a couple of times. Then it'll be an a-hole, and boom, a-hole. One last letter, and then we can get on to another thing after we cook. After we cook them, gotta get the crap out from the H to make an H-hole. And there's our H-hole. We will put this in my toaster oven at 275 degrees for about 10 minutes. That's all I need because these are really super skinny little letters. And here we go. Haven, Haven, and they're cooked. That was fast. So just to neat them up a little bit, now that they're cooked and hard and I can't smush them too badly, trying to trim off the extra clay. Make them nice and neat edges. That's the way to go. So I'm using these scissors, but I know that I'm going to figure out pretty soon that the X-Acto knife would be easier to clean these edges up. So I'll do that on the next one. And you have to figure out your placement, although at this point it's just kind of looking, just because I'm excited. You don't have to place them out yet. And the only one that's going to have some of the bracing show through is that V. But that's not so bad. I think in the end, you hardly even notice it. It pretty much goes invisible after I paint the V a darker color. Here I go at that A with my scissors. When I wash this back, I'm usually amused at myself. It's like, Jeanette, you know that'll be easier with a knife, especially right there when you're in the a-hole. I think that's where I figure it out. Yep, there's that knife. Or X-Acto blade. This works a lot better to get all the little edges cleaned up. Make that A-ho nice and smooth. And look at that. Oh yeah, go back over that edge and get it cleaned up the right way. That's the way to do it. Nice and smooth. Clean up the V, get it all the way down in the itty bitty corner. Clean up its little tops. Let's go in and get that E done and get all of its little legs that stick out. That's what I call those. Are they legs or arms? I think they're legs. Get the back. That one's satisfying. Tops kind of satisfying, but not as much as the back. And of course you have to get that N with all of its little corners. Get them nice and crisp. I am really enjoying making these letters. If you're enjoying it too, maybe you could like and subscribe. I found out that if you subscribe to my channel, then next time I post a video, it'll come to you and you won't have to go looking for it, my babies. Isn't that amazing? I love it. You know, as long as I've had a YouTube account and I've subscribed to people, I never realized that that's what the subscribe button did. So, you know, I'm older than most everybody else, and I'm learning a lot this year about technology and the way social medias work and everything. Kind of proud of myself, actually, and I enjoy showing you what I've been doing all my life, which is messy art. I love it. And well, we have our words spelled out. Now it's time to work on our wire archway. All of my braces are nice and dry, and this thing is holding up really strongly. It's very satisfying to take these clamps off. Showing it off, testing the braces. Yep, it arches. Yay, it arches. Let's bring the letters back in and figure out how to attach them to this arch. Obviously, we don't want the braces to show through all of the letters. And did I already say that the only one that you'll see is the V? I think I already said that. Sorry. There. Got them set how I want them. Thinking about how far down the sides they're going. So I moved the H and the N to the other side of the brace to make a little more room. And I'm trying to imagine how much length I want to leave on the ends of these wires to attach them to my pillars, because obviously I cut them much longer so that I'd be able to trim them down as I needed, because I don't have a pattern, my babies. So I'm going to use some epoxy sculpt to attach them. Of course, because what else would do it? Nothing. That's what. I'll skip past the part where you have to watch me mix this up. And in fact, I think I'll speed up attaching the letters to the wire. So here we go. So cute. And look how handily it just came right on. So I need to get a little tool. This is a silicone tip clay tool, the pointy one, because it's good to get a little of this epoxy sculpt across and around that wire. That's the key to getting this on real good. Smush it all onto the brace. This H is going to be super strong, so will the N and the V. The A and the E, a little bit left hanging, but I think they'll do fine. And I'm also smushing it really well onto the back of the letter so that it has good adhesion. Wherever the clay is touching, it is pressed in really good. Since I'm such a visual person, it helps me to lay it out every time just to make sure I don't mess it up, my babies. It doesn't take much for me to mess something up, really. Come on. I try not to. And put a little bit more on the back and build it up. And the back is not going to be pretty, but like Rachel Makesy says, what's going on in the back ain't none of my business. I love her. Hi, Rachel. Well, this method is working out really well. I'm finding that I can hold the wire down and keep it nice and still while I work on the back of the letter with the epoxy sculpt and smush it all in there real good. Look at that. Let's try the A. This is my first freestanding one. See how this one goes. It's like, do I put it on the wire? Do I put it on the letter? Let's try a little of each and see what one works the best. I think it didn't really make any difference. It's pretty much the same. You still gotta smush it in all around it. Get it in there. Get it in there. Press it in. Press it in. That's the way. And we have HAB. Now I'm starting to realize that I don't quite have enough epoxy sculpt mixed up. So I'm gonna have to make just a little tiny bit for the last letter. But that's okay, my babies, just because I'd rather have a little bit short than too much, because last time when I was making the braces I had too much epoxy sculpt mixed up and I wound up making like a little teardrop out of it. I'm not going to show it to you because, you know, it was just a leftover thing, not important to my project. I don't know if anybody would be interested in watching me when I make like a whole bunch of clay flowers, or I'll make a whole bunch of skulls, or I'll make a whole bunch of something to use in future projects. I don't know if anybody would like to see when I mass produce a thing, because I do it quite a few times, the mass production of things, and then I have a whole bunch of these things, usually too many. There, set that right on there. Oh, come on, don't be too fussy. Don't be too fussy, my baby. Just get on there. Here we go. Yep, the A and the E, they're just gonna have to hang on for all they're worth. I have quite as much bracing as the other letters. I could have, if I had a pattern or had planned this out a little more, I would have put a bracing where each of the letters was going to go. But you know what, my babies? I fly by the seat of my pants. That's how I roll. So I work it out as I go along. It's fine. It's gonna be fine. Look at that. They're all on there. Well, next I came across a problem to solve. And that problem is that these pillars are just straight up and down. Their base is just a part of their middle, which is a part of their top. Hence, straight up and down. So I came up with a solution to use these plastic cups that I found in my cupboard. And you might think I'm going to use the bottoms, but no, I'm going to use the tops. I'm going to cut the tops off, and then my genius plan for the base, you'll see in a second. I don't want to spoil it. So let's take a pillar and put that little top of the cup on there. Look at that. That'll be a good diameter for the base of my pillar. Now how am I going to get that stuck on there, I wonder? Look what I pulled out. My new cosplay. I'm just learning how to use this and what to use it on, and I think that it will lend itself quite nicely to this part of my project. So I just grabbed myself a big old chunk of it, and it looks like I'm just going to try and smush it in there, huh? Well, that wouldn't work out. So I grabbed my scissors and I cut it up, and this is way easier than trying to stretch it apart. There we go. Gotta squish it. No, it's not going to work, Jeanette. What am I gonna do? Oh, here we go. Let's put it on first. We'll put it on, put it on all four sides. Here we go. There. Now, we can just slide that cup right over the cosplay and force it all the way down to the floor, and boom! What? That worked. I have quite a bit smushed out of the top and quite a bit smushed out of the bottom. That means it's full on the inside if it's smushing out of the top and the bottom, which is exactly what I wanted to accomplish. Something to brace up, fill out, whatever, that flimsy plastic, and I'm smushing it back into the top of a part where it didn't smush out. So it needs more. I'll smush it in, and I'm just neatening it up a little bit, and there you see, I got it all full It's completely full of the cosplay because it's so smushy. I'm really happy with this result. That works. That's great. Do the same thing to the other one. And here we go. And smush. What? Oh. That is so satisfying. I know you can't see it really well. I'm sorry about that. But man, if you ever have an opportunity to smush stuff, you should do and neaten it up just a little. Just a little, my baby. You got a little much out. Neaten it up. I used a little bit more clay on this one, I think. And I still have to smush some back into the front where let's do the tuck and press method. Tuck and press. Tuck and press. That's working out pretty good. Tuck it. I managed to get all of that clay in there very neatly. Very satisfying. And there we have it. Look at that. It is all in there. All of it. Very full and very smushed. And that stuff will dry like styrofoam, I'm finding out. And look at that. I have let that cosplay dry for about 4 hours, I think, while I was out shopping. And I came back and it was suitable to continue. And I decided that I could use up the very rest of this grout that I've had in my house for 3 years or so. I want the base to be a little bit heavier because that cosplay doesn't even weigh anything. I got some better gloves on and I'm going to use some protection for the base with these cardboard pieces. I don't mind admitting that I saved the cardboard inserts out of my cat food. I buy my cat Fancy Feast and it comes with these cardboard separators. And there's like at least 2 in every box that I buy. So I just started setting them off to the side and I have a whole stack of these little cardboard squares for free. Well, I paid for the cat food. I never know how to do the math on that kind of thing. So I just smushed that grout around inside the container and I took about half out. And I'm going to use half on this one, half on the other one. Share and share and share. And just like that, it just smooths around pretty nicely. I gotta say, working with grout is kind of satisfying. But there's a tragedy in a minute, and you'll see it, that I wasn't really thrilled about. But mostly, working with grout is different. So I'm not going to go for a square shape because it's a pyramid shape with the top of the cup like that. And I'm not too concerned about making it like perfect. This is, like I said, a gothic old stone gate type deal. And once it's painted up, it'll look like exactly how I want it to look. And there it is. Very nice base to my pillar. Got one done. Moving along to number 2. Just scrape very last little bit out of this container. I really like being able to toss something out of my stash, free up some space, which is my whole goal. My goal is like what I said at the beginning of this video, is to get rid of all my crafting supplies and use them up and not buy anymore. Which I've been pretty good about not buying anymore for quite a while now. Because I have so much crafting supplies, I can always find something to do with the junk that I already have. I don't need to go and buy more stuff. Although I have to admit, when I did Rose the Hat, I found that little doll at the secondhand store. She was yelling at me to bring her home, so I had to do it, my baby. She was satisfying to make, and I made that video of her too. It's also very fun. I hope Stephen King likes my creation of his character. Hi Stephen King, I love you. So I have them pretty much set the way I want them, my baby. Moving along to the next phase of my project is figuring out how to attach these wires to these pillars. I don't mind admitting to you that I asked ChatGPT how to do this because I just couldn't figure out. My babies, I was going to try to use magnets because I wanted it removable, right, for storage. But I couldn't figure out, and I don't have good strong magnets like Era Bentley has on her channel where she makes her Beetlejuice house. Her whole roof is stuck on there just with magnets. It's incredible. You should go give her a look for sure. So ChatGPT told me that if I wanted them removable, I should put the wire in a thing and then put the thing in the wood. And it made complete sense. As soon as he said it, I was like, duh, I know how to do this. Okay, let's get it going. So all I need to do is set where I want the holes to be drilled, which is not a hard problem. Not when you have a Sharpie. Boom! Put a hole there. And right there. Come on, right there. Put a hole there too. And then do the same on the other side. Stabilize and mark. And mark. Mark. And mark. And my marker is getting a mush. No, it's a fabric marker. I probably shouldn't have used it on this. Oh well, problem for some other time. And I need the hole to be big enough to accommodate that, whatever that thing is called. What are those things called? A plug? And tragedy. When I was drilling the hole, I crunched my grout base because it wasn't dry all the way because it was stuck on these cardboards. I didn't take it off the cardboard and put it end up so that it could have dried out better. And this is what happened now. Oh, trials and tribulations. But I got the holes drilled out, didn't I? Even if I did smush the base. And a little bit of a smushed base is not going to stop me. I know exactly what to do. So get out the cause clay. And I gotta say, in retrospect, I might have used paper clay, but I think that I decided this would hold up better if I put it outside, better than paper clay. So that's why I'm using this cause clay again. And it works out fine. It's all good, my babies. It's all good. Just smushed all around till I'm happy with it. And you can see I'm starting to get some of the dust from the grout onto the clay, and that makes it not want to stick too well. And I thought to myself, well, I'll just get it on there and get it to dry. And then if it wants to peel off, I'll glue it. But it never did peel off. I never did have to glue it. It was fine. And I'm just trying to make the edges flat as possible. I mean, you're still gonna see them, but it'll add interest, right? Right. So that one's looking okay. And in the interest of symmetry, we'll put a little bit on the other one. So it'll have the same texture in the front, at least, for the most part. And I can feel this grout is still smushy too, so I'm going to peel it off of this cardboard and hopefully get some air in there so that it'll dry, even with the foam clay over the top of it. We'll see. I think it does. It dries okay, but it does take a long time. I left it overnight. And that kind of brings up a good point that this project took me 3 days because of drying times. Actual fiddling with it, maybe a couple of hours, but real drying times, 3 days. Now I'm finally ready to start trying to attach my wire to my pillar. And this is my problem with my hands. It's hard. It's hard to clip this wire. Oof, I got it though. I pulled that brace off to see if maybe it would fit back on the wire, but it never did. And it doesn't matter, because I didn't really need it. I'm trying to get it on there though anyway, aren't I? But it doesn't fit back on. I even turned it around, thought maybe I had it backwards. But there's no way. It's just not gonna go back on there, my baby. Don't try anymore, Jeanette. Just stop. Move along, please. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's get the other side going. Ow, ow. Ow, it hurt. Let's see, 2 hands. 2 hands. 2 hands will do it. Come on. Oh, I got it. Whew. The struggle is real. This one, maybe a little twist, maybe a little 2 hands. Come on. There. I got it. And messing with that brace again. It's not going to go on there. I don't know why I even keep trying it. It's just not going to happen. So I'll get these posts onto the wires, and they fit just perfect. It's really neat. And this will also help me judge the distance to the end because, you know, the posts are all the same length. Yeah, look at that. So the post will be down in the hole of the pillar, and I want some wire to still hang out at the top because I don't want the wording, the letters, to be right smack on top of the pillar. That would take away from the aesthetic for sure. So I'm just gonna figure out how to get them at the length I want, and I decided where to put them, and I'm gonna use some of this multi-purpose cement, and I had decided just to pull them down to where the bottoms are currently. That's enough space. And I think that if I twirl them down onto that glue, it'll get the glue all around the inside. What do you think? You think it works that way? I don't know, but I get them down there right where I think I need them. And this isn't the most super strong glue. I could have used super glue, but I didn't want to use super glue. This is kind of a rubbery glue when it dries, like a rubber cement almost. But I think they use it for models, for plastic. So that's what I'm thinking, that it'll help adhere the plastic to the metal. But it didn't give me any problems, so I guess it worked. Yay! So I just bent them a little bit to make them stay where I want them. And then that worked so well. I saw that if I just bend the end a little bit, then I can get them to stay at the end too. So see there, I'm just bending it a little, and now it won't keep sliding back up to the letters. And then because one's on the top and one's on the bottom, you have to account for the difference in where they're gonna land. I think I got it okay. I'm not a rocket scientist, people. I just do my best, but I think I got it okay. And then I'll cut those little ends off and bend those in a little bit. And that seems to hold those posts on there really well. And it's turning out spectacularly. We got one cut, and the wire top is constructed. It's not done because I still got to paint it up, but I think I have all my pieces ready now. And speaking of painting, let's use a little protection. I usually have a stash of cardboard squares laying around just for this kind of thing. We'll just get started painting them. Now for the letters, I only want to paint just the top and the sides. I didn't want to do the backs yet because I was looking at that V. So in the V, I don't want to paint the brace. So if I leave it blank, basically, it doesn't stand out very much. And I think it works. I think it works out just fine. We'll just get that last little letter painted. This is starting to look really sharp. So for the back, I switched to one of my squeeze bottles of paint with an applicator tip, because then I can get into all those little crevices in the back. If I had to paint this with just a paintbrush and I would be pouncing on it a lot, I'm afraid that it would be too much because these connections are strong, but they're not completely indestructible. So it's better to use a little bit of caution, and if you can, use the lightest touch possible. Plus, it's kind of easier to apply. You don't have to load your paintbrush up and drip it across your table to get it over to your project. Look how fun that is. I don't know why I don't paint like this all the time. And the last little one, all that paint in there, and then just push it into the cracks. And boom, it's done. Moving right along. Look, I have a brand new container of Mod Podge. So now I'm going to get my pillars completely slathered in Mod Podge, all up and down and very, very thick. And this part of my project will dry overnight so that it can cure. And then there won't be any sand falling off of the grout, and all of my little bats and skulls there will be attached forever. And I really can't make you sit and watch all of this, so we're gonna skip the rest of the Mod Podge and get on to the next thing. Mod Podge is all dried and impenetrable now. Time to get a first coat of paint on, and of course I'm gonna go in with black. And I also won't make you watch me paint these things all black. I put a lot of coats of paint on this thing. I'm just gonna show you which paints step by step and then skip through it real quick because this has already been a long video. So here we go. This is black. So this is a curate color, metallic. It's kind of a green yellow. That's going on next. And it goes on just a little metallic looking. Let's go to the next color. So this is looking pretty metallic now. Doing another coat of this yellow metallic. And now I'm going to switch over to this bronze metallic color. And you'll notice I put some black filler in the cracks around my skull heads because I thought they were a little too cracked. Looked like they were gonna fall off of there, my babies. Now I'm just doing a patting on of the bronze metallic, so that'll take a minute. Let's skip to the next thing. And now, because it's so bright, we're gonna use this really opaque, watery, this is paint gun, paint sprayer paint. So it's really thin and really opaque, but it lends itself to being a little bit see-through also, even though it is so opaque. I don't know how to explain it, but it's a good choice for this project right here to darken up some of my spots again and again. I don't know what I'm doing, people. I don't know what I'm doing. Can somebody help me paint? I just try and, I don't know. I'm trying. I always feel a little bit lost. Sometimes it really turns out great and I'm like, wow, did I do that? Because I'm surprised. It turned out good. Oh me. I figure if I just go up and down the corners a bit, that'll give it some depth, right? Seems to be working out. So I went and I got some gloves on because I wasn't happy with my brushwork. And I had the idea that I could use some of these silly food prep gloves as sort of daubers. So I'm going to get my fingers all painty and then slap it on there. I gotta say, it's pretty fun. I recommend it. Just slap it on there. Tap, 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 tap. It's hard to see in this video, and I wish I'd take better videos for you guys, but it actually is accomplishing what I wanted to accomplish. I just need to get more paint on these plastic fingers and then start tapping it on. It moves really well, this paint. So, and it is really starting to bring out some of the, I don't know, I guess it makes it look like shadows on the metallic color. But you know, you just keep on keeping on. Do them both at the same time so you get them same because they are a set. And eventually, hopefully, it will start to work out how you want it, my babies. If you ever try and do a project like this, I wish you the best of luck. I really do. And so the end result is that it's got this mottled metallic look that shines through all the dark parts. That's pretty cool. So let's put those posts in the top of this thing and get this thing done. What do you say? Just slide it on in there. Just push it in there. There it goes. Starting to come together. Get that other side in there. And it didn't want to go right at first, but I took some time and did some convincing and finally acquiesced to my demand and get it in there. And get. Now these will be removable, but they're tight. But they can be removed. Now just bend the wires a little bit to make sure the signage is upright how I want it. The way to do that is right there at the base. Get it to stand up straight how you want. And ta-da! Haven Gate! Look at that. This is just about done, people. Whew, what a long project this was. I can't even believe you're still here for the whole video. I know I have 7 subscribers now, and thank you, each and every one of you. And my first subscriber, I sent her a message and told her that she would hold a special place in my heart, and that's true. Thank you, Sylvia, for being my first subscriber. I hope you're watching today. Hi Sylvia. You are just the kind of sweetheart that I love to do these crafty shows for. Maybe I could inspire somebody. Maybe somebody just enjoys watching crafty videos. I do. I watch crafty videos all the time. Those and the home repair. Why do we watch so much home repair? I don't know. So I'm bronzing up these little letters. And it just doesn't even take very much to make them pop right out. Look at that. And that V that I was so worried about, you can barely see the brace behind it. And boom. Well, here it is, my babies. My Haven Gate. Look how cool it is. I like it. I like it a lot. Matches all my other stuff over here. I've used so many of these little skull things. Wow. So I put it out by my haunted dollhouse. It looks alright. So I tried it over by my husband's little point of interest in our garden. And you know, that's okay. It kind of, both these places kind of melts in the background. Looks like a tree, I guess. If I was going for a tree, I guess I'd pulled it off. It disappears right into that tree trunk there. So I put it on my flower stand, and look at this. It is gorgeous here. I put my little gypsy cat, boom, right there. She lives in my room now. And so Haven Gate is done. And thank you so much for coming over and watching me craft today. I really appreciate you guys so much. You just have no idea. So until next time, have a great day. Bye.